What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, and you are watching Ranger Wrap Up. Peace out. What's up, everybody? This is Jason.
Live. Hello. It's Saturday. And I already see that we have 4 dislikes on this video.
We don't. We only have 2 actually. But you know what? I will say behind like just started talking, just like cracking each other up. But it's been a long time since all 4 of us have done this together.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, every time I feel like all 4 of us have done. It's always a long time. There's always like gaps in between.
Yeah. It's because you're super popular over there, Mr. Joe.
No, it's everybody's schedule, not just my schedule.
But it is Saturday, you guys, so thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday for your favorite Power Rangers live stream on YouTube. Yeah, I saw we got, is it 2 or 4? Whichever it is, I know who you are.
Hey, man, what if we're not their favorites, Jesser? Maybe Ranger Liz is their favorite. Maybe Heirloom's own regular show by himself.
I'm putting it out in the universe that we're their favorites.
Maybe it's Morphin Network. Maybe it's Lisa J. Who knows what their favorite is? I don't gauge the
define Jesser.
If this wasn't their favorite, they wouldn't be here. They would be at their shows.
Open a poll.
Yeah, we'll start
Open a poll.
How do you do the polls in here? But other than the 2 people that thumbs down, and I know who it is, so fuck you. But today,
it's 3 now.
Oh, it's 3?
Yes.
Oh, nice. After that.
Yeah, right.
So let's go down the list. Today we got from across the pond, Mr. Mark Heirloom. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine. I've traveled back from 1995, and therefore I can tell you that the whole new thing is called Power Rangers. It's all good.
It's good. And of course, Daniel hit us with the AKAs.
Yes.
How at your boy? That's right. It's me, Battlestar Galactica, aka the Purveyor of Petty, aka the Controversial Conversationalist, aka the Intergalactic Instigator, and aka everyone's favorite, Kurt Hustle, because I never stop. And along here with us is the one, the only. Let's save him for last because that's the way it works. Joe Illuminerdi himself. Joseph.
It's great to be here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon in Los Angeles, California. How are you guys doing in the chat? Matthew Thompson, Thomas Franco, Brian Lee, Cool Guy, Best Friend, GF, Archive, Mikey Nerd Talk, Thea Games, Edward Sanchez. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. As you can see, we are turned up today. We're going to be talking Power Rangers. I feel like, look, sometimes I sit back in Los Angeles and I think to myself, I says to myself, does Jesser sometimes want to like rile fans up intentionally? Is he his giant pot of Power Ranger fans just like sprinkling in a little bit of petty with a little bit of truth and stir it all up real nice and then serve bowls of shit talking all the time? Is that what happens? But no, I think look, everything we're going to talk about is going to be based in facts. We also are going to have speculation on our parts and kind of break things down for you. We also have the super chat feature. And look, one of the biggest parts of the show is you guys. So keep your chats coming.
Yep. Keep it going.
All the questions.
Go ahead.
I say all the questions.
Yeah.
That's it.
Joe, you may be right a little bit. I think during the week, I just, it starts off kind of calm. And then I open up Twitter and Instagram or YouTube, read the comments from last week. And then I talk to Heirloom, and then he's like throwing gas on it, and then I just keep heating up. And by the time Saturday comes around, it's like it's either hit or miss. It's like, am I gonna be coming out like a fireball? I'm gonna just be like smiling. But I had pitched the show today. It's just showing, well, and rather than just words, let me just do a lot of research and get the actual number. So it's like unequivocal. You can't really deny any of this stuff anymore, and if you do, I'm just gonna start questioning your mental capacity for absorbing information. but
Oh boy. Oh boy.
but I mean, let's start off slow. Let's start off
You can
slow.
send your letters and hate mail
Yes, send them this
to
way.
Jezer Reyes.
Jezer, you just send them this way. I'll enjoy them, or just tag me on Twitter. I love that shit. I love
You
that
should,
shit.
you
But
should get them to write it on a postcard and just say to Jazza, to the sea.
yes,
And that's it, just the sea.
the sea. So we'll start off slow. I mean, we still got a few weeks before the potential Comic-Con was supposed to happen, but we did get some Comic-Con merchandise that came out over the weekend or over the week, and it's from Icon Heroes. Did you guys see these before?
I saw them when you sent them to me. And here's the thing with Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, such a big mecca for geek entertainment, and Power Rangers usually has a presence there with and especially their exclusives, man. I really hope we get a a Lightning Collection exclusive from like a Comic-Con this year. But I saw this stuff that Jezer sent me, and I was impressed the most with a Dragon Dagger pin, Jezer.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, not pin. I'm sorry, letter opener.
Yeah.
That thing was really cool, man. That thing, like, honestly, that's such a cool little gimmick for that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it to open all the hate mail I'm gonna get, in the coming days. But yeah, we got the enamel pins. Enamel pins are a pretty big thing, for cons, especially as exclusive. So I'm pretty excited about it. Hopefully, I'm able to scoop them up. But yeah, it's a done deal, and I think eventually, probably within the next week, we'll probably get the announcements for the big boys like Hasbro's exclusives and other Power Ranger exclusive stuff that should be coming out within the week, maybe even today. Who knows? Definitely, who knows? But next up, another smaller news is a little tease. I don't know if it's just a tease because there is that rumored Hasbro Lightning Collection TMNT Toyland, but over Twitter they posted a picture of the Ninja Turtles with their morphers and Zordon behind them, and it says "Join the fight." So a lot of people are speculating that we're gonna get a part 2 to that crossover. Did you guys actually read the crossover, and did you enjoy it, and do you think that it's gonna be successful if they do a part 2?
I saw the crossover. I read it. I enjoyed it. I especially love the character designs. I think that was the cool part. And like the whole the Green Ranger Shredder thing, and then there's just the turtles being the specific or relative Rangers. It was cool. It was good. I like the idea, and they had it set in New York, real place. And it was cool.
I did like it. I think Ryan Parrott wrote it, right? So it's story-wise, it's solid. Joe?
I didn't get a chance to read it, but for some reason the crossovers I start and I don't finish. Like I never finished the Justice League one, and I didn't even start the Ninja Turtle one. But I heard that the Ninja Turtle one was great, and I gotta check it out because I love Ryan Parrott's writing. I think he really understands the Power Ranger universe. But I know Jezer, more so you. I'm very curious because I never even asked you about this. I know you're a huge Ninja Turtle fan, maybe even more of a Ninja Turtle fan than a Power Ranger fan.
Mm-hmm.
But do they do the Turtles justice in that book?
Yeah, definitely. I think.
Oh wow, cool.
I think even more so than they did when they did that Batman crossover, that animated film. So if they were to make an animated film of it, I think that'd be super tight and super awesome. I think that even the suits look cool. I think the suits look cool.
In that Ninja Turtle book, with the Power Rangers, do you consider, and this is just me gauging your Ninja Turtle, meter here. Are the faithful turtles the ones that you saw in Power Rangers in Space, or more so in comics?
Those turtles are like variants of the turtles.
All right, fair enough.
I don't really consider them canon, even though that technically when it first came out, they said it right after TMNT 3. And they're supposed to be canon, but I don't want it to be canon.
Venus was in that one, wasn't she?
Huh?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Venus.
Yeah,
Venus Milo.
Yeah.
I think we should get a Lightning figure collection. Just make her a Lightning figure. I'd be fine with that.
I mean,
They bring back Venus de Milo to be the Blue Omega Ranger.
Ooh.
Maybe,
Huh?
maybe.
I'd be okay with that.
I mean, I'm totally fine with that, rather
I was
than the other
completely
person.
kidding, but who knows?
But I mean, they are, that they're going to be like covering a lot of, I think they're going to finish MMPR with the Ninjetti set, and then probably the movie set after that, and then after that, I don't know how much more
Well, then I mean, you also have to do the 2017 movie.
you do. I don't know if you put that, if you do it right after.
I'll say this: if the Lightning Collection keeps growing at the rate that it is, like, and if they end up doing like the Star Wars, like what, or even what Marvel Legends is doing, or the Star Wars Black Series doing, where they're giving
Yeah.
you moments in time of these different action set pieces of Power Rangers, I wouldn't be surprised if we get every variation of the Mighty Morphin suits from like the Wild West Rangers, their little
Yes.
tassels. Like
Oh,
I can
man.
almost see them going through like like we're almost, I feel like, in a small way, like with that wedding 2-pack. I mean, that's a moment in time in one episode of Power Rangers, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe you get the power transfer like command center set. I don't know, man. But that's if people keep buying the figures, which I think would be super dope.
That is really
Guzer, raise your mic volume.
raise my
People are
mic
saying.
volume. Really? People always complain it's too loud. Let me see.
Mm. But if they did the Wild West Rangers, then we just get another standard Kimberly.
And another Tommy.
I'm wondering. No, he didn't have one. He was
yeah,
the White Stranger.
I guess you would get the 4 of them, and then you would get the White Stranger, just Tommy in his like cowboy outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But I'm wondering what sort of head Kimberly would come with. I'm expecting a ribbon or a cowboy hat, even though she didn't have it, because it's Kimberly and everyone loves Kimberly.
It's true.
Why
It's true.
couldn't it be Cat?
That is true. That is very true. I mean, there's still a ton of Ranger, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger stuff that they can do. I just don't know how long they want to be doing it.
Till the end of time.
I know
Yeah.
they should start doing some Dino Fury stuff, or I've been saying this. We've been saying this for a while. They should have finished up Beast Morphers.
People want us to talk about the future of Power Rangers. We should move on to the title subject of.
Oh, I got one more. It's just a little quick video. This is just a video of Brennan talking about whether Dino Charge, anybody from Dino Charge is going to be making an appearance in Dino Fury. Let me see if I can get that queued up. It's really quick.
Script written for it. Dino Charge does not come back in Dino Fury. At least I didn't come back, and any Ranger I know from my season didn't tell me anything about it. And I know there's NDAs, but there's also friend DAs where sometimes you still tell your friends, but no one told me anything. So if Yoshi or Davi or Claire or someone or Michael went back, I wasn't told. The only person who maybe showed up is James, because James lives in New Zealand. I haven't actually asked James if he shows up in Dino Fury. I believe he was a bad guy in either Ninja Steel or Beast Morphers as well. I think Ninja Steel. Script written for it, Dino Charge.
So we're talking about the main topic right now. The main topic. Heirloom, here's an interesting comment that from someone that we've been talking with. Brian Lee Cool Guy, Best GFR Archive says, is Power Rangers will continue for Toei with Sentai Adaptation 2023? Why is he asking when during the week he was super adamant? Brian, you were super adamant on your stance. Did Heirloom change your mind? What's going on here?
I think that was the other guy. This Brian is I think apparently he doesn't like me anymore because, we tell lies. We tell the lies of the lies. But no, it was another person. It could be the same one. I don't know.
Look, I'm gonna address this. I feel like I have to say this like once every fucking month, but whatever. Here's the deal. Like, we're not in the business of telling you lies for one reason. It's dumb. We're not going to make things up, and our reputations are on the line. If you look at the greater thing more so of what we're doing outside of Power Rangers, I mean, there's a lot other news that we're breaking that if you look, it matches up. I'm talking like Disney, Marvel, you know what I mean, Star Wars. Just look at the news we've dropped there and check that out for yourself. All I'm saying right now is that our track record speaks for itself. Like, that's all I'm going to say. Like, we're not going to make up news. And I'll also say this. This is the news as best we understand it to be currently right now.
Yeah.
We're not saying like this is the exact thing that's going to happen in the future because plans change. We've seen that happen time and time again. So I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible with a lot of you fans out there that are just like, it's fake. It's not fake. It's not made up. I mean, it's actual news. Whether that happens because plans change, I don't know the future of that, but I can tell you what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say.
Honestly, like there's a movie that wrapped just over the week that we posted a lot of exclusive news on, that it wrapped, and everything that we said, literally everything that we said, came to fruition in Black Adam. Like everything.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Every single article that we posted about it came to fruition. We're gonna see it in how, like after wrapping, like how long after are they ready to release the film?
Well, you know what? I'll go you one better. There's and this is one that you'll be able to confirm with your own eyes within the next couple of weeks. And this is obviously a spoiler, but anybody that's going to go watch the new Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn, we revealed almost a year ago who the villain was. It's on our archives in the Illuminerdi. You can go check out that article and then watch the movie. And then you tell me if we made it. It's on.
James Gunn, oh buddy, old pal. James Gunn.
Oh, buddy.
Oh buddy, old pal.
I'll be talking to that guy next Saturday.
Oh my gosh, interesting. But so let me put out the first bit of information. So this took me about, I don't know, a few hours to find this information. These are the ratings, the Nielsen ratings for Power Rangers over the past few years. There was a
Wait, before Jezza continues, I also want to say one more thing. We are not here to downgrade the brand. We love this brand, or else we would not be doing this show. Our jobs here is to create awareness, but also excitement about the brand. But at the same time, we also got to present facts. And if you guys are going to take something like this seriously, we should back it up in fact. So now you may continue. I'm sorry.
No, so there was a gap in between MMPR and up to Wild Force when it moved over to Disney, as far as the Nielsen ratings, where I was trying to get the information from. But if you look at these numbers, I put a little control group there as far as like the demographic, as far as what to compare it to. We have Fairly Odd Parents and SpongeBob, where their numbers have been stable for the past, or at least SpongeBob numbers have been stable for the past 20 years, about 4.00 to 4.00. But if you notice, between at the peak of MMPR, it was about 7.1 million people watching it. There is a gap where it went all the way down to about 0.6, where it was with RPM right before the move back to Nickelodeon, and then there's a little bit of jump in Nickelodeon, and then another downfall again. Another downfall again as far as the numbers go. So like when people go about saying, oh, why would they change the formula? Why would they change the formula? These numbers aren't. It doesn't give a lot of confidence to anybody, a new owner, right? It's not a lot of confidence. Oh, let's continue with the same formula. Let's continue with this. Just for you guys seeing those numbers, what are you guys' thoughts on those? They correlate?
I didn't realize Beast Morphers was that low, and I didn't even think RPM had gone that low either. And it's interesting because some people want it to continue, but if you've got that much ratings, that's gonna die very, very quickly.
Well, one of the bigger glaring facts, you can almost tell through that list or that Excel sheet that Jezzer just showed you, is that I don't want to blame the show because I don't necessarily think it's the show's fault. What I will blame though is the network that it was on. If you look at when Jezzer had just pulled up those things, when it was on Nickelodeon, it felt like it made an impact because it was the first season back with Samurai. The ratings were at like about a 2 million,
almost 2, moderately higher than normal. Yeah.
Sure. So that it seemed like the impact was there, but as we all know, and even a lot of you fans, and look, you guys can say what you want about whatever news we present, but one thing you guys can't disagree with, because I think we're all in agreement here, is that Nickelodeon never promoted the show. So if you look at that, And the other reason why some of those other ratings were there, because somebody asked, those were other ratings were there in comparison to Power Ranger numbers. So he was trying to show you what those other ratings were compared to
the
Power
matching
Rangers.
the matching demographic of who.
Matching demographic, and also on the same network,
Yeah.
correct? So Nickelodeon was promoting Nickelodeon produced shows. Power Rangers wasn't a Nickelodeon produced show. It was just on Nickelodeon. And just in that promotion alone, like a lot of people maybe didn't know where the show was. And that just is proven with that data that Jezer just provided. By the way, Deoxy's in the room, and I love Deoxy. That's another dude you should be checking out. I love his YouTube
Daniel,
channel.
you got something to say?
Also, you have to take in consideration, if you're looking at the numbers, you see how the numbers started to decline as the show got older. That's the only thing. The problem was the audience got older. The audience gets older and they leave. Now, the problem is with the show moving from place to place, trying to find its fit and get that younger audience, that new audience that's coming in, you're not getting it. And you're not getting it because, well, the older audience isn't really telling the younger audience sometimes, and it's just, we're aging out.
And you'll see towards the end of Disney that it was like at an all-time low, which confirms why Saban was able to buy it back at such a cheap price from Disney.
Well, I mean, look, we also know that Power Rangers, or at least most of us know that Power Rangers was really a test brand to see how well a boys brand did within the Disney brand. And then if you look right after that, they acquired Star Wars and Marvel relatively. I mean, they're expensive, but they made that money back relatively quickly. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a part of it, too, that the Power Rangers didn't really fit into the play, knowing that they were going to have Marvel and Star Wars coming right on board.
I've seen a lot of comments of people saying, "Oh, I'm surprised RPM did so bad and SPD did so bad despite being fan favorites." I think that there's no direct correlation if fans enjoy a film, enjoy a series post after it's aired versus when it's airing. Yeah. It's just. I think you're considering the Power Ranger fans enjoy it, not the mass fans watching kid shows enjoy it, and I think that's the issue.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question. This is going to sidetrack us just for a second because I know you guys want us to talk about the future, and believe me, we will. And if you guys want a question answered immediately, use the super chat feature because that is what it is there for, and it also helps support the show. But the question I have for you guys is: you guys now have seen the numbers for Power Rangers as it's went throughout the years. With the numbers being what they are, and I mean, believe me, this is just a real question I'm asking because, look, Power Rangers is a staple of television now at this point. It's been on the air for almost 30 years consecutively, so nobody can deny its staying power on television. With that being said, are you surprised that Power Rangers has continued on consecutively, even with the numbers being what they were? Because, I mean, honestly, it feels like it's, I mean, are more people that are the fan base watching it, or are more kids watching it? Is the question?
I think it's the fan base. I think
that
there's a small window where people forgot the existence of the brand only because of how it was advertised, and I've seen shows get canceled. This is like, it's crazy to see that the show didn't get canceled with the numbers that they provided. HBO just announced that they canceled was that Lovecraft Country with Jonathan Majors, and when it was at an all-time high, right? Like
was it like 13 Emmy nominations and the show got canceled?
So it's crazy that they'd allow a show to go on this long with the current format without making any changes, right?
Do you think that was Bandai though, when they've pumped money in and gone, the show needs to continue, so let's make the next one, let's fund it, and then see what happens, and they've just gone, or they looked at the toy sales in Japan and went, oh, Time Ranger did really well, so we'll just use all the stuff from there and then kind of like bring it out.
Maybe.
I always find it fascinating. That's a great question, Erlen, because I always think about that too, is because you have to, like, I think that Power Rangers in Space was definitely one of the ones where, like, all right, what's the season going to be and what's the pitch? And they were like, all right, that's not going to work here. We got to figure out and retool this. And I think Zeo is very much like that as well. Lost Galaxy too. But something like Time Force, like I'm also curious about that, whether, because in the theory and in concept, it works very well and it transitioned over very well. But correct me if I'm wrong, it's a fairly like 1-to-1 adaptation.
I think so. I've never watched Time Ranger, but I think most of the time the adaptations were exactly the same because Toei has a really big kind of hand in it. They say, this is what you've got to do. You can't deviate from this. Because if you look at, like, say, Samurai, when Lauren was in it, she was only in it for, like, say 5 episodes, and then she just disappeared, where you'd think that she would be in it a lot longer. But I think that they were like, oh, you can't have it. And also, have you noticed that apart from Lauren and the girl in SPD, there's never been a female ranger, and I think Toei does turn around and say you can have a male lead, but you cannot have this or you cannot have that, and it changes quite a bit.
Interesting. And I do know that Samurai also was very close to the Samurai Super Sentai counterpart.
So, gearing us back to the topic at hand, Jezra, what is your next news bit?
Well,
next
one of the things
what's your next landmark?
one of the things that I was seeing in a lot of other videos or people responding to our last live stream is that we are liars and the information that we're putting out is not false. It is false when the exact information we're putting out is the same information as people that you follow, that you love, that you put on a pedestal as far as ambassadors for the brand, and it's the same exact information, but it's more acceptable for you to hear that information now. So this is information from the actual one of the business meetings or press releases where we're talking about like the Toei Hasbro split right now, and this is exactly what they're saying. They're saying Hasbro's Entertainment Studios producer Jonathan Entwistle will be the shepherd for the new film and TV adaptations. So for both formats. So another thing that me and Heirloom came across during the week is that people were very adamant about saying that there's going to be a new connected TV and movie universe, and then still another Super Sentai universe after that. With a brand where the ratings and the viewership is so volatile like this, I don't think that expanding themselves to so many formats like that, so many different formats and so many multiverse or whatever is key to like starting over and trying to test out their new format. So I really don't think, just from all the information that we got, I really don't think there is this universe that Entwistle is in charge of is going to be a fully rebooted universe with TV and movies. And
Jezzer, do you wake up on Saturday mornings and think, that story in the Power Ranger universe that really caused a buzz? I want to bring that back up. Not only do I want to bring that back up, I want to crumble it up, put a little gasoline on it, and light it on fire, and just watch.
Why do you say that?
Sometimes I feel like the Power Ranger world, Jezzer wants to watch the world burn. Like, oh yeah. But so what you were talking about with this Entwistle thing, look, it's a fascinating story, and there's so many directions it can go. But for a lot of what they want to do, and we've said, I feel like that's a broken record,
broken
right?
record for sure.
Look, for a lot of what they wanted to do, and Heirloom just brought this up, is that the Super Sentai handcuffs them in a way where they can't do what they need to do to really make it their own thing. And that's just what it tends to be. And I completely understand the want to have a Super Sentai adaptation every single season. Look, I am also a fan of that. I think it's cool. I think it's kind of cool the way that they can adapt it or change it or make it better at times, or sometimes, watching the two of them as completely different shows. But like sometimes we also got to face the facts that like if we're looking at a giant shared universe that we're looking to generate money off of, it's harder to do that based on somebody else's previous work. It kind of handcuffs you. And the way that Boom Studios is handling it is very well, because look, the Omega Rangers are completely new. What were the other ones that came from Beyond the Grid or whatever? What were the Solar Rangers? Yeah. Those new designs, right? And not to say even that like other Super Sentais that we've already seen can't get adapted in the Boom Studios, but we're getting these different Rangers now. and we're already seeing a precedent for it. I mean, I think that it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One good example, as far as like another conversation that a lot of people bring up, is how can Power Rangers exist without Super Sentai and Toei? I sent you guys a video last night of the YouTube series that we talked about earlier about the
I'm a huge fan of it.
Giga or whatever, which is a Japanese
Uh-huh.
adult film company that created their own Super Sentai, totally not connected to any Super Sentai or any inspiration from any of that. And the suits are all original. The story is, while very similar to Super Sentai stories, is an original story, original characters, everything. That they were able, this porn company was able to create a show, even if it's like the little shorts, they're able to create a show and a story without the help or without the influence of Toy. And I think that's like the perfect example to show how, Hasbro will be able to create their own story what a lot of people don't understand was within this current contract, they have the intellectual properties of 28 seasons of Power Rangers that they can build off for this new reboot. So while it's still a little bit based from the Super Sentai things that we got, it's not hard to see that they'll be able to create something fresh. If anything, it's kind of like these Power Ranger fans are insulting Hasbro and all these people on like their capability to do their jobs as writers and directors and movie and TV show creators. It's like, you guys.
But Jezzer, also you have like, I think one thing that gets overlooked though, honestly, is that we've gotten only an like this is just a Power Ranger thing, and I don't know why like we don't talk about this more. Is that we obviously know that Jonathan Entwistle's working on the project, but we don't get updates frequently on Power Rangers. The most updates we get on actual Power Rangers is mostly for the Lightning Collection, mostly through the action figure line. That should tell you something right away, that their focus is on the collectibles. It's to sell you toys. That's what it has been since we were kids. Yeah. Literally to sell us toys. That is what they're doing now. So the one thing that surprises me a little bit is that we're not getting a little bit more updates with what's happening with the overall franchise. The reason for that is one out of two things is going on. One, and this is nothing against the brand, this is just my speculation, just in terms of media and PR, right? So one is that they don't have a clear-cut plan what it is yet. And maybe that's why they're not making any announcement. They haven't settled on any ideas, and they're not sure what the audience's gauge of everything is yet. Or B, it's falling apart. Like it's one or the other, right? The in between of that is that the in between of that is nothing. But like it's one or the other. It has to either be they're just not ready to figure out what this is yet, or they haven't engaged that yet. But also you got to think, because Hasbro has a lot invested into G.I. Joe right now with Snake Eyes coming out in about a week, right? I think they're really monitoring how that does to see how well these other franchises do. Transformers is in good hands. We've gotten Transformers is a really good example, because I feel like we're always getting, at least more so, updates with the Transformers franchise than we are with Power Rangers. Same thing with a little bit with G.I. Joe. We just got an announcement of a new animated cartoon that G.I. Joe's doing. Like, we already know that an animated Power Rangers is coming. The only thing that we don't know is when it's coming and what that initial, what it looks like. That's what we don't know.
Yeah, all that information's out there. During the investor call, they literally said it. The guy literally said it word for word that's what they're going to be doing. So it's just a matter of just waiting and sitting on the information that you have and just waiting for them to release the product. But I'm going to show you guys a little video that I'm not going to take credit for, because Heirloom's the one that found it. Like, I don't even, after we show you the video, we'll talk to him about why he even went back to watching it. But this is the video that kind of created the whole topic that we're talking about today. So let me push that for you guys. So here you go.
It's going to be even better. It's going to be even better. Parting ways with Bandai and Toei.
So, Heirloom, would you like to tell people why you decided to go back to that and what happened?
So my friend and I have been talking about this for ages, and he keeps bringing it up. And at first I was more like, because I glanced over this and I didn't even pick it up when I watched it. But my friend was like, "Oh no, it's definitely saying this. It's definitely saying this." Like, right, let me go back and listen to it. And I did. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." Because at first I thought maybe it might be a split up, like they turned around and said, "Oh, we said this, and we meant the toys that we're separating from Bandai Japan." And then it's weird when I start thinking about it, going, why would they turn around and say Toei Studios? Because you wouldn't say Toei Studios, you'd say Bandai of Japan. So I went back over it and thought, maybe that's a thing. But then like part of me was like, wouldn't someone fact proof like go through this and choose it, rather than kind of let it slip and be like, oh, maybe no one would pick it up. But it's just weird that Hasbro would have watched this beforehand, because this, I think, apparently the show was delayed. So someone would have watched it and gone, you can't say that. You have to edit that out. You have to change it. So maybe they were like, someone's put it in and went, there we go. We're just going to like give this to you now. And then if it all goes tits up, you can say, we're coming back into it later.
Yeah, it's like it's really fast, and if you're not really paying attention, it's really brief. But that phrase, that sentence right there. If the toy split has already happened prior to Dino Fury releasing or premiering, there are no signs, or there's nothing that comes out that would, we don't toy there's no involvement with Toy right now as far as what's going on, except for like the Zord fights, right? I think we're at about 4 minutes. I watched an episode of Dino Fury and I was trying to average out. They're under 4 minutes of Zord battles, and everything else is pretty much original shot footage. So that's at 4 minutes over about 22 minutes is like maybe 13 to 14% of toy footage used. So if they were to, if in the Toys That Made Us, if they were to say that and it got Hasbro like didn't hear it, or it got rose over, this could be a confirmation that the fans have been always wanting, that the toy split actually happened. What do you guys think?
I mean, there's a lot of evidence there to suggest that it has. I mean, it's so hard to. I look. Are you asking what I think personally? Whether
I would love
whether
to.
it happened?
We could throw this down as speculation. What do you think personally? That phrase.
All right, so there's two ways about this. Like in my everything I know factually says that it's happened, that it's a done deal. Like everything that I know factually says that this is that they're silently splitting ways, and it is what it is. But everything that I think personally is that, like, if you're looking at the bigger plan of what Hasbro wants to do with Power Rangers, like, it's just a bad business decision as an American company to handcuff what you're doing with the franchise. So I think you kind of want to take it and expand it and grow upon it. I mean, look, that's what Star Wars kind of did. They had movies, then they grew it into, obviously comic books and now a television series, right? So they're expanding their universe in a big animated series. Like they're expanding their universe in a big way. But it's Power Rangers is very tricky, because I feel like there's a lot of different people that are involved, whether it be Toy, whether it be Bandai, whether it be Hasbro Entertainment One. There's a lot of different people that are involved. And I think with the franchise, the writing was kind of on the wall, I would say, a couple years ago, when we kind of knew what, everything was kind of going down. I remember, like, right after we figured out that Hasbro was taking over the franchise. And then I don't remember who we were interviewing. I don't remember. We were in Long Beach, Desert, but we were interviewing somebody. And I was telling them, I was like, yeah, like, for everything that I know is that now Paramount's gonna be handling the movie. And here we are now, a few years later, and Paramount's handling the movie. So it just seems to all be lining up to do something bigger with the franchise. And I think that they're very, I don't know about concerned, but they're very cautious, I'll say, with how they want to present that. We do got a super chat though.
Oh, okay.
Super chat from Thomas DeCos, who says, according to Toku Chris, a friend of the show, the Brazil Licensing Con has confirmed that PR will shows in 2022, 2023. For 2022, they didn't list Dino Fury, just PR.
This is true. I have seen this as well. This is true. I mean, that is something that is out there. I mean,
Yeah,
read into it what you will. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, no one's saying the show's ending. So,
No.
I mean,
Well, look, I mean, Jezzer, something that you touched upon and something we mentioned the last time I was on this show. It wasn't last week, but whenever it was. Animation is something they are actively doing right now. Animation is something they are actively working on. So, we're expected that that's going to be in the future of Power Rangers. It's like no question,
No question
about that.
about it.
right.
So,
Now,
the thing is, when is it coming? Sorry, Daniel, go ahead.
I have a question. With the split, are they able, you mentioned it earlier, Jether, but I just want to make sure, they're still able to go ahead and touch on everything that they've already done?
I think everything
as,
leading
as
up to
fun.
everything leading up to Dino Fury. I think it's
So
fair game.
they can make a new series and reach back and pull stuff from Mighty Morphin
Yeah.
if they wanted to, or
That's totally
whatever.
their
That's
property.
still able to use. So then, I mean, all that's happening with the split is they're going to be able to make an original Ranger team with an original story and like their footage.
Yeah.
Well, also, here's another thing too. If you're trying to build a universe that's not like, Mighty Morphin. Let's talk about Mighty Morphin just real quick. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the first season lasted about 60 episodes. Does anybody know how many episodes the actual Super Sentai was?
Probably 40 odd normally.
Right.
Let me look.
So I'm just in Mighty Morphin season 1. That's about 60 episodes they're adapting from Super Sentai. And then, but you have to think that extended to about 3 seasons, right?
Right.
And they had to, obviously they brought in the White Ranger from Die Ranger, and they had to get creative with what they wanted to do. With Hasbro creating their own group of Rangers, you don't have to be so reliant on a different motif every season, because if this is successful, this is the season that you could possibly get for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, it can just continue to carry over and like Daniel had said, kind of grow with its fan base.
Yeah.
All I'm talking about is a possibility. So with that being said, in creating that, you can then give them different Zords, whatever it may be, and link it up however you want to do it. But the suits can remain the same. There's nothing saying that that it can't just continue on, like it has to switch over every season. That's something that you can do now, and you're not so handcuffed to the footage you have just that's being produced in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to do it. Oh, the super chat from Thomas Acosta.
We already read that one.
Oh.
Oh no, there's another one.
Yeah, that sounds like I meant to
Maybe
say.
I think behind.
Oh, he meant to say have shows, not shows.
Have shows, not shows. Yeah, I mean, 2022 is Dino Fury. It's season 2. That's what 2022 is. So the big question is what 2023 is.
Well, Robert just confirmed what I just looked up, and Jew Ranger had 50 episodes. But I was just thinking, as you were saying, like, I think what would be really cool, and everyone wants crossovers, everyone wants to bring back past Rangers, whoever it be. And I was just thinking, like, if say Hasbro next season come up, they go back and they look at one season, bring the characters back or whatever, or give the suit powers to other people. You could have this huge, massive team up, and then have a random Ranger turn up, like in was it Lupin versus Pata Ranger versus Space Sentai? They have this massive kind of battle, and they're all about to morph, and then you've got someone from Zooja just randomly being there, and I'm like,
why?
What? And he morphs with them, and I'm like, but he runs off later on. I'm like, okay, you were only paid for like 10 minutes, but great 10 minutes that was. But like, can you imagine, like, you could have, say, whatever, like Rangers have then JDF turn up, or Austin, or even like, say, Jason Font. Like, he just randomly turns up and says, hey guys, time's split up. I need your help. And then he literally comes off. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is also a great way, Heirloom, to really dive into some of the stories that are touched on in Power Rangers and flush those out. For example, like Mystic Force, they have the Great War, right, with Udana and Frag and all these characters. Right, but this is if you wanted to do this in an animated form, you can actually flush that whole story out and give us like this epic, like Lord of the Rings style Power Rangers event. Like, there's so many different things that they can do. By the way, we also got a super chat, and Daniel, if you want to read that one, that would be
All right,
fantastic.
Jalen Glover starts question. If they did split, is it possible that Hasbro will ask the fans for what they want to see, or stick to what they want to make themselves?
No.
Well, let me ask you a better question, Jalen, and thank you so much for joining us this week. The question I have for you is, when the Lightning Collection figures get announced, are they usually the figures you want to see, or the figures that they want to push on you?
I mean that chat.
Now, but in all honesty, I feel like they're gonna do their own thing, what they think is best for the brand. I think if you're thinking about Power Rangers, and you got to get like, I don't know why I was talking like really like meta here, but if you get into like the mind of like a producer and executive at that level, you have to assume like their biggest goal is what return can they make for a mass audience, right? What can they do for a mass audience? And I think that like, well, they consider the for sure they'll have the fan base in consideration. I think 100% they'll be thinking about that long-term fan base, but what does a mass audience want, and what are they kind of going towards? And I think that they're going to really try to figure out what that is. And I think that'll be a good indicator of what we end up getting.
Brian Lee, cool guy, wants a Cure Major adaptation in 2023. You're not gonna get it. Just go cry in a corner right now.
I mean, at least can you just be like, yo, that would be cool. He's generous. Shit.
Yeah, Jesuit.
Get out of
Jesuit,
here.
if they do the adaptation of that, I think, oh man, that would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious, and it'd just be like sports news when all people always count out like certain teams, and it happens. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna make my formal apology to the fans. But yeah, Brian, not happening. So cry.
He's like, get that out of here. Get that dream out of here, buddy.
It would cost too much. Like, literally. And one thing about Cure Major is it Cure Major? No, I'm thinking Space Sentai.
Oh, Q Ranger.
Yeah, Cure Ranger can't be made. It's too expensive. And they just do this whole thing of like, hey, where's this person?
Yeah,
oh,
so,
they've gone off.
You know what? I'll say this. I was just talking to somebody that's associated with the brand not too long ago, and like literally out of their mouths, and I literally out of their mouths was, yeah, they'll never do Q Ranger. It was just too expensive. Was literally the first thing without me even having a prompt for that. And then they mentioned some of the other things that were in that article, which I almost wanted to laugh at, because it was like, man, so many people like make fun of like one little point about the Yellow Ranger's nose, and like honestly, that is a legitimate concern that people there had. So I think it's also funny, but I'm not saying you won't get an adaptation, whether it be like in comic form or something, because I think that they're like, at the end of the day, I think the Q Ranger aesthetic is something people loved, but it has to be done correctly.
Oh,
but to do that live action, look, they barely want to put money into the show that they have now. What makes you think they're going to want to put money into? And matter of fact, they not only do they barely want to put money into the show now, why would they do it if the ratings keep sinking? That wouldn't make any sense.
I mean, it's about setting expectations. And speaking about setting expectations, we got a super chat that talks just about that. Jalen Glover says, to be honest, I really don't expect much. If anything, I just try to see where it goes from there and leave it just at that.
That's a good plan. We also got another super chat from the Blur who says, yeah, I know, I agree. I think it would be cool to see Hasbro take on fan films, work with them like Revenge of the Ninja, because that is epic so far. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see them have fan input on stuff, but at the end of the day, every fan is different. And it's what's good for the brand. It's a good example is to see like the fan interaction with people that are part of the brand, and how negative and toxic it is in chats, as far as like, oh, we don't want that figure, we don't want that, that's garbage, this is terrible, you guys suck. It's like, why would you want fan input like that if if that's the type of energy you're gonna get back?
Well, I mean, sometimes you can't be held responsible for the negative actions of the fans, and don't let that fan reaction fuel what happens for your show. And a good example of that would be Steven Universe.
Mm-hmm.
They had a moment where their fandom was the most toxic ever.
Really?
Yeah. Like people you'd become a fan. And you're like, oh yeah, I like Steven Universe. How much do you like Steven Universe? I just started watching. You know nothing. You're an idiot. Oh, everybody, let's make fun of them. And it was like they would rush in and attack people for any opinion they had on the show, if it varied from this one popular one or something like that. And it was just like really horrible to be a fan for Steven Universe at one time. And it was just like, but yet the show was this bastion of acceptance and just so many other things that were just great and positive. So you have to make sure that you don't change according to that vocal minority and pay attention to the non-vocal majority.
Yeah.
That's how you really
Abram the
Yo,
realtor
do you
says,
think it's weird that we talk more on the business side of Power Rangers week to week than we do the actual television show? Do you think that's a little bizarre? But here's we do got Brent, who's one of our great Power Ranger creators and writers here at the Illuminerdi. He does have a super chat. Would Ranger exclusive teams make a difference? Fans didn't get spoiled by Sentai in the past, so maybe that's what we need now.
what does he mean by that?
Ranger exclusive teams meaning I'm saying like meaning American exclusive teams. Is that what that means? Or am I reading that incorrectly?
I don't know.
Bryn, clarify, my friend. What does that mean?
Abram, when I was talking about the fans in the chat and stuff, for the Fan First Fridays, Abram says, Jazzer, so basically us? No, not us. You. If that's you, I'm describing you.
Yeah.
Just going back to Q Ranger and how many people I can imagine Hasbro going out onto the streets, going up to a person, going, "Hey, do you want to be a Power Ranger?" But now, be like, "We'll give you a ham sandwich and $10 if you do it." You're like, yes.
That's about the first
I-
one. That's about the contracts they had on the first season, I think.
Yeah. You get a ham sandwich, $10, and IMDb credit. I'm in.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Honestly, though, I think if I was to say, here's what I think we can expect. Like, I'm just gonna spitball here, and here's what I think we absolutely can expect: an animated show, 100%.
100%.
Like, it makes sense for there to be an animated
100%.
show because, mainly because, especially in something like the COVID with the Delta rising and everything else, no matter where you're from, I mean, it's still out there. So, doing something animated is something you can do socially distanced, and I think that's something that they can easily, like, continue the franchise on, even if restrictions in COVID and Delta spike. You know what I mean? That's something they can continue on. And Hasbro has a great track record with animation. Disney, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and some of their other properties that they already have. Even My Little Pony, the properties they already have are doing very well in animated form. Number two, if I were a betting man, I would say that there will be a Power Ranger miniseries that's more for the PG-13 audience, because I think that the one thing that Power Rangers is starting to realize is that there is an older fan base that is consuming the product. Honestly, if you think that Lightning Collection figures are 4-year-olds are buying those, you're probably wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not 4-year-olds playing with Lightning Collection action figures, because I absolutely believe that there are. However, they're more marketed towards the long-term fan, because I would venture to say there's not many 4-year-olds know who the Phantom Ranger even fucking is. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's definitely marketed for more of the adult fan base in the collector. And by the way, I think that miniseries, it would obviously be on Netflix, because we know that that's where the streaming side is going. And if I were also a betting man, I would venture to say that it would possibly include like the original cast in some form or capacity. You know what I mean?
3D or 2D? 3D or 2D?
Oh no, I'm talking that would be a full-on live action. Like, I think that miniseries would be a full-on live action. I'm not saying not ruling out that it could be animated, but if I were guessing, I would say that if they're going to go animated, they're going to try to do it for like the four to whatever the market is for the show now, like 4 to 9 or whatever it is. I think that'll be like a very animated style show. And I think the live action continues on with whatever miniseries Netflix wants to do. Now, in the movie side is where I think they're putting the eggs in a basket, and I think that's where they're having to figure out that's where the most revenue is going to come from. And I think that's the biggest part that takes the most care and most precaution, because having a cinematic setback it can cost you millions and millions of dollars. We've seen franchises we've seen studios invest a lot into franchises that have just fallen apart, right? Look, I mean, we can honestly say that with Warner Brothers and DC, even though they're kind of rebounding now. But it's a major setback. Look how long it's taken since Zack Snyder started Man of Steel to now, and where we're barely getting on track now. So and look, G.I. Joe's another great example. How long has it been since we saw a G.I. Joe movie? So with Power Rangers, they're just doing the best that they can and being as precautious as they can be. But that's where all the money really is at. What else can we expect in the future of Power Rangers? I mean, I think that's the general layout of the plan, just in essence, like in its essence form. I also think we can expect more adaptations from Super Sentai seasons in Boom Studios that we haven't seen yet. We're already starting to see that with other seasons, like with I think it's Flashman. So the Supersonic Rangers, we saw a little bit of them in the Boom Studios comics. So I would venture to say that we get a full-on, story arc dedicated to a Super Sentai team that hasn't been adapted yet. But that's what I think the plan is for the future, at least right now.
Well, in chat, they were saying a few things. They passed me up now, but one was saying something earlier about with Retro Ranger wrap up getting to where they are right now. Will they see you on the show, Joe?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on Time Force for the whole season. I told Josh that I will do it for the full season for one reason, because personally, I look at that season in a very different light.
He hates
Number
the
one,
show, you guys.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I just don't see what all the hype's about. Look, I'm not. All I'm saying is, like, I look. Just like Daniel was talking about earlier, and in some way in the back of my head, I think I have to change my way of thinking too. But look, everybody, all 41 of you that are in this chat, I'm sure at some way, shape, or form, you're a hardcore Power Ranger fan, or else you wouldn't have found this show, because literally Power Rangers isn't even in the title of this show. So like, you had to have been like really looking hard or be a hardcore fan to find us. Secondly, just for a lot of fans out there that, look, somebody asks you what's your favorite season of Power Rangers, 9 times out of 10, the answer that you get the most cringed about is when people go, "Oh, Mighty Morphin," you're like, "Oh, all right, whatever." Like, you're just but I get it. So I get what you're talking about, Daniel, with that Steven Universe thing. But the reason I'm doing the Time Force thing is because, in my perspective, I think that the Time Force Rangers are the villains of the season. They're the ones hunting these mutants, some of them just to stay alive. And I want to see if this lines up with my theory that I think that, like, Time Force. Look, that's another great point, Heirloom, that we kind of like touched on way back, just to bring it all forward. The reason why animated works too, Loki's very. I mean, it's talked about right now because it's been on for the last like 6 weeks or whatever it's been, and it's what we're setting up now for the Marvel Universe. You imagine if Time Force was the Power Ranger version of the TVA, and they're trying to correct things like that. I mean, they can absolutely do that. What if that meteor, what if that the reason why the Dino Charge team has dinosaurs, the meteor was supposed to hit but never did, and Time Force has to be like, we have to correct this, and that world has to get hit with this damn meteor because it shifted things.
Isn't that what Hyperforce is?
Is it though? Because Hyperforce is gone. So like they're hopping around and they're doing this, but even in animated form with Hyperforce, this would work as well. But if they're, the TVA, I think it kind of works out a little bit better. But in my theory, I just think Time Force is kind of the villains.
I honestly think that what they should do is like Disney Plus is doing with all these other things, like a show where it's more of an anthology series, and 3 episodes are dedicated to a particular story arc. And the way it would go would be animated, and we get to take care of the dangling plot threads from different series, different seasons, and you do it in a 3-episode arc. For like, there's a hanging plot thread for something in Time Force. Then it's a 3-part episode where we're fixing those dangling plot threads for Time Force, and then after that, the next 3 episodes is another series. And 3 episodes taking care of dangling plot threads from another like Ranger season. And
I agree, Daniel.
I think that would be dope, because
I think so too.
It's bringing people back, and you're not spending too much money, and they're voice acting, so it's like,
But even Hyperforce, like, it had a fan base, and I think you can integrate Hyperforce into this like Time Force TVA thing. Maybe they're the ones that are like, "Yo, what's going on?" Maybe like, what's all this about? Like, there's a lot of different things you can play with when you're doing animated. Like, and obviously you're not confined to a budget. Like, that's the one thing that Boom Studios is doing so well, taking advantage of the page, because that page that's on there, if they were to shoot that, we're talking about like those budgets would be very large. Either that or the budgets would be tiny and everything would look shitty. So like you would get one or the other. So I think that's obviously another reason why you go into the animated form, because there's just so much more you can do with given budgets.
I mean, look, Marvel, What If?
Yep. What if?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
if you went
animated.
down with the animated route, if you went down like the anime style, it's really popular at the moment. Manga's outselling comics completely at the moment. So if
Yeah.
you did it in an anime style where, the fans like, oh, you've got to keep it like this, but okay, keep it like anime, it would make things so much better because you can have multiple like studio houses turn around. And obviously, a Hasbro type way, we said, oh, we're putting money into these animation studios in Japan that they can help fund their other stuff. It then puts it in the minds of other people and say, oh my God, like the anime community starts talking about it. You have people going like, oh, we like that. Oh, did you know that Hasbro have just given like Studio Bones $10 billion to just do this? And then they can
That's a
produce their
big
other
one.
shows. I think it works a lot more that you hit so many like markets and also bring out a manga. Boom, you're doing more stuff. I so god like the TVA type thing with Time Force. That
Yeah.
could be a thing where you could have, like say, a series of renegade rangers that are escaping Time Force that turn up, and then you see Wes or Eric or Jen everywhere chasing them. And then
Heirloom, you're coming into my Cosmic Protector writer's room. I'm bringing you in.
I will happily come into this. But there's so much stuff that you could do. And you could do it like swap it halfway through when people are going, oh my God, Wes has just caught something. Switch it around to the thing where you see it from Time Force's point of view, and they go, are we really the bad guys, or are they the bad guys? And then you just mess with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I really want the
Larry,
TVA
big
to
super chat, my friend, member of the Illuminerdi, Larry Newbill,
Nice.
handles some of our social media. It's good to see you, my friend. That your Illuminerdi shirt is going to be on the way very, very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got new merch. You're going to get one too, Heirloom.
I think that's a.
I like
I think that's a good stopping point for us, right, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, look, let's go around, and I think this is a real fair question to ask, honestly, is obviously this is the question of the episode. Do you think personally, and in the chat, we're going to ask you too, do you think personally the Toei and Hasbro split has happened? Currently.
Yes.
I reckon
100%.
Daniel.
I feel that it is happening. I feel that there's a lot of negotiation happening concerning what they'll be able to use and if they'll still be able to hold on to some things within like one more season of something. I think that's what's going on.
Yep.
I agree with Heirloom. I think the split has already happened.
Done. It's a done deal.
I can imagine Toei and Hasbro have sat down. They've gone like, right, you can have everything you want, Hasbro, but we get Jason David Frank. And Hasbro are like, God damn, yes.
Britton wanted to clarify his answer. He says Power Ranger exclusives, all brand new, exciting, like a new team. Like when he was talking about that,
Okay.
like, oh, by the way, just in the chat, people think yes, the splits happen. Yes, yes. Mikey Nerdtalk says yes. Larry says yes. Jared, yes, I think it's already happening. Thomas Franco, I think it's happening. Trent Deno, Sentai adaptions don't work anymore. People need to finally realize that. Ain't no drama Sentai adaptation. Platinum Ranger says it's still happening, I guess. So, I mean, overwhelmingly, listen, we appreciate you. I mean, if you guys don't think it's happening too, we're not going to, I mean, I'm not Jezzer. I'm not going to hold
Do
it
it.
against
Say
the
it.
Pulse
Say
Board.
it. Say it in the chat right now. I gotta remember your name.
You guys are entitled to your opinion. Abrams also says yes. But, like, I think that the evidence is overwhelming. And truth be told, like, I love the Super Sentai adaptions, to be honest with you. And Jezzer, actually, I know that you wanted to wrap up real quick. But, Jezzer, let me ask you a question, because something you brought up, and it just clicked in my head right now, is that you had a theory that Super Sentai, you think personally is ending too, right?
I think that it's they're trying things, but I think that they might end probably within the next 5 years or so. Because the ratings aren't like extraordinary for Japan to continue it as well.
Somebody I talked to that's close to the brand told me this. Almost, I'm gonna paraphrase here, but he said, "You see what they're doing at the new Super Sentai? How the fuck are they gonna adapt that?" Is exactly the words that I
Yeah,
was given.
Brian Lee,
So,
cool guy. How are they gonna adapt that? I'm a liar.
Look, Brian Lee just said that you're a liar, and I'm gonna believe Brian
even
Lee.
after the numbers, even after the you if I'm a liar, you're a moron.
Robert Amaya says, I agree. This is the end of Toei's involvement with Power Rangers. It was fun while it lasted. Thank you, Toei. You know, honestly, truth is, like, we can say that they're splitting for now, but truth is, if this version of Power Rangers doesn't work out for Hasbro, who's to say that they wouldn't like want to rejoin Toei? But at that point, Toei kind of holds all the cards. Yep. But it's just a fascinating scenario, man. Honestly, it's a very exciting time to be a Power Ranger fan because I haven't felt like a change like what's gonna happen like this since, man, I don't know. I don't even know like when. I can't even think of like when we've had something like, I guess when Disney took over, right?
I mean, things still stay the same.
And even then, it wasn't on like this kind of scale.
No. I'm trying to think of something big. Yeah, this would be like unprecedented, you know.
And Brian Lee, cool guy. Thank you for that comment. If you think we're a liar, I would also please harken back to go check out our track record. Is my only suggestion. But I wish you the best, sir.
When do you think? Yes, do you think that they will announce it, or do you think it will just be, here is the next season of Power Rangers, and it's completely different, and they just don't mention it at all?
The latter.
I mean, to tell you the truth, I can see that absolutely being a possibility because I almost feel like they essentially tell you that. Did Jezer play that one video? Did you play that other video, Jezer? About
the investor meeting? Let me play
yeah.
it real quick. Let me see.
I think this will shine a little bit more of a light onto what people are talking. Like, you know, it makes a lot more sense when they say.
Hey, Brian, watch this one.
Another top priority for us is Power Rangers, and I'm excited to say that this brand is about to enter a new era. We're creating a new Power Rangers universe for a broader audience across film, premium TV, animation, and kids content. And to architect this universe, we've engaged the highly sought-after showrunner Jonathan Entwistle, known for the hit series on Netflix, The End of the Effing World. Entwistle has a great passion for Power Rangers. This will be a complete reinvention, and we're hoping to spark new interest in this storied property. Another top Power Rangers, and I'm excited.
Hasbro's mouth. That was literally from Hasbro's mouth. So I don't know what else there is to say.
What are some of the key quotes there that you can pick up? Like I feel like new universe, you know what I mean? Like there's like they clearly want to move away from. I mean, I think that honestly, in all honesty, I think they absolutely want to respect the past and the lineage of the franchise because obviously that's what got them there. And truth be told, I would say mainly the Mighty Morphin era because that was the most successful. But they absolutely want to respect that lineage of the franchise, but they absolutely realize that they have to take it into a new era because that's what's going to work best for a current American audience, or else you're just going to keep watching the numbers dwindle down. Yeah. And that's not what they want. They're going to have to do something different. So I think that, like, you know, and I think now we're going to start seeing a change. I don't think it's going to be as drastic as people think, but I definitely think we're going to see a change.
So Larry Newbo did a super chat. He says, "You are a liar," and Brian says, "I agree." He's not talking about you.
The one thing that I like, the one thing I want to see from like these sorts of, and this is from most people that over the time, like when you guys have reported stuff, is I really want to see what their reactions are. So say tomorrow Hasbro does turn around and say, "Boys, we're not doing it anymore. Pack it up. We're just doing Power Rangers. Here is blah de blah," and then just see what they say because I reckon that these people will just turn around and be like, "Oh, yeah, we always supported you guys. We always did this." And you're like,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, we're waiting for that moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, the one thing I'm realizing, and believe me, like the Power Ranger ones, I care probably less about. But truth be told, man, like I said before, we're presenting the news to you. You guys can take it however you want. If you guys want to spin it into a negative thing and make it us against them, you do that. But then, like at the end of the day, like we're reporting news. Look, it is what it is. Like, I guess we must have made up that whole Dino Fury cast announcement. Like, I know obviously one turned out to be wrong, but if you're gonna really dangle that 1 out of 6 in front of us, sure, do you, man, do you? Yeah. But it doesn't change the fact that we got the other 5 right. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't change the fact that Austin St. John came back to the show. Like, look, you can say what you want. I'm okay with it. Like, especially in the Power Ranger space, because like truth be told, I like the Super Sentai adaptions. Like,
I love Q Ranger.
I think it's a super charming part of the show. I think it's I mean, obviously it changes what Power Rangers is a little bit, but it's not going to change my love of the franchise at all. And I think if anything, like I'm excited to see what they do next, because I think the one thing I think about Power Rangers is how I've always wanted the brand to grow, and it feels like they're taking a vested interest in trying to grow the brand. So I'm on board with
Me
that.
too. Me too, 100%. But I think that's a good place to stop. Let's start off with our boy across the pond. When's the next video you got coming out?
Oh, I don't know. I've been writing a lot. To be fair, more about the Hasbro behind the scenes type of thing. So when that video drops, maybe sometime next week. Hopefully.
Wait, you've been writing a lot, you said?
I write a lot of the ideas. I got kind of the same sort of thing constantly was happening. So I just generally started writing loads of different things, like what was it? It was something about why, like, say why Q Ranger wouldn't be adapted, but then it's not just the whole thing of it's the money type thing. It's breaking the entire series down and going, this won't happen, and
you know what?
This won't do it.
We're gonna chat about this once we get off this show.
Daniel, how about you?
Yeah.
But I have a few ideas.
You can find me at Rat House Productions for a little podcast called That's Life. That's where three grown men get together and talk about childish shit. And then after that, there's also the Astonishing X show, which Joe is a part of when he's available.
Wait a minute, I was the one asking in the chat, when are we doing the next episode? So granted, I'm the one pushing forward because I think we punched out 3 of them the last time I was there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can catch me over there. Also, I'm gonna try to be on some more stuff here. Like I'm gonna try to be on the wrestling show this week.
Are you?
I just thought about it. Like,
just thought about it.
Are you doing the live watch along for Money in the Bank with them tomorrow?
Oh, what? Yeah.
That'd be dope.
All right, I'm down.
How about you, Joe?
I'm down.
You can find me at Rat House Productions too, also on the Astonishing X-Cast. If you're a fan of X-Men, the animated series, we go through each and every X-Men animated adaptation. And actually, we're going to end up doing the movies very soon too. But we go through every X-Men iteration, leading us to the MCU eventually, and kind of like relive our childhood and look back on it. It's a lot of fun. We do that with Tony Sanchez and Brandon Zachary from Comic Book Resources. And Daniel's our producer on that show. But you can also find me here at the Illuminerdi on this show when I can be. For the most part, I try to make it a priority. This week I made it a priority. Here I am. And you can find me over at Screen Rant doing interviews. I just saw Suicide Squad. It's a lot of fun. I can actually say that because I guess there was no social media embargo on it. And G.I. Joe, man, I can't wait for you guys, or Snake Eyes, I can't wait for you guys to see that one too. So go check out my stuff over at Screen Rant. And you know what? If you guys are fans of the MTV show The Challenge.
Oh, what is going on?
I'm a big fan of The Challenge. Jezza's like, what is happening? I'm a big fan of The Challenge. So hit me up on Twitter because I'm thinking about doing something fun this season. August 11th is when the new season starts. So hit me up on Twitter for that.
Well, you can find me here and all social media at Zeus. If you guys are going to be in the Simi Valley area, I will be hanging out over there. Are you guys going?
I think I might be. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Daniel might be doing this wrestling show, so we'll see.
So they got the whole Beast Morphers cast over there, so you guys come down and meet the cast. It's going to be cool. But thank you guys so much for watching. Joe, you want to send us out?
Yes, thank you guys so much for spending your Saturdays talking Power Rangers with us. We love talking about the show. We actually love talking about the business of the show, I guess it seems like on this show. But we promise you, we're going to get more into formats and give you more Power Ranger stuff overall because this has just been fun for us to do. But thank you guys so much for watching us. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Also keep that turn on that notifications for every time we go live. But we are the Illuminerdi, keeping you up to date with everything trending.
Pop culture.